Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm Shubham and you are watching Let's Create an App. So this is part third of Auto Layouts and Constraints video series in which we are going to talk about a sign up screen as well as the functionalities which we have left. So till so far we have created these two screens. So basically this is the first screen in which we are having a two buttons. We have used multipliers to create this thing. So if you don't have any idea about what is multiplier, please go and watch. The link of the series was mentioned in the description. You can go and check out all the previous videos. And in the previous video, we have created this sign up screen. So this basically there is a scrolling at the small devices and it will not scroll on the big devices. And we only have left two things on the sign up screen, that is uh, these three icons, and this is a button which can make the password hide and show, and also already have an account sign in thing. So we are going to create this thing in this video, as well as we are going to create this login screen also. So this video is also very exciting, and if you want to learn auto layout and constraints, please watch the complete series. And if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to get the notifications of all my other videos. And if you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and share the video as much as you can. So let's start the video. Let's create an app. So now let's move to the Xcode and move on this. First, let's create the outlet for these text fields so that we can assign a method to these text fields, or we can call a method with these text fields. So I'm using a normal naming convention that whatever the field is, just prefix of that thing and then the name. So txt full name kind of a thing. You can use any other thing, but this is the way I'm using, like this. So txt email, and the next should be txt password, something like this. Now we need to create one file that should be an extension of an UI text field, because we are going to create one method. This method will be helpful for putting the right views of these text fields, as well as this method is also used in the login method, login view controller. So we will create a single method for that thing, so we can reuse the code also. So just select a simple Swift file and just give the name like UI text field plus extension. By doing this thing, we also managing the hierarchy of the code. So this is also a good thing, that we will manage the code accordingly. UI kit, something like this. Now we need to create an extension of that thing, extension UI text field, something like this. Now we have to create one method, that is function, and in this method we can give any name, just like add right view. And in this, first we have to create one image. So let image view is equals to UI image view, something like this. And in this CG rects, we have to pass a CG rect of an image. So that should be like from X it should be 10, from Y it should be 10, and the width is like 30 and the height should be like 30. You can do this thing accordingly. I'm just giving an example for this thing. And we need to assign an image to this image view. So image, so we need to get this image from the user. So user will call this method and pass the image in this function. So we need to create one parameter which takes UI image from the user, something like this, and we will pass that image over here, like this, simply like this. Now let's assign this image view to the right view of this text field. So simply write, you can simply write right view is equals to image view. And we also have to assign one more thing, that is a right view mode. So this should be always, something like this. Now this method can be called with any kind of text field. So let's try this thing and call this method from this text field full name. So text field full name dot add right view, something like this. Now we have to assign the image of that user icon which we have seen in the image, this icon, this one. So I've already added assets in my assets folder. You can go and check these images from the project. You can get the link of the project in the description. So now just simply add a image. So for that you need to use image literal, and we can simply assign a user icon over here. something like this. Now let's copy this code and paste this code 3 times so that we can add 3 different things on different text fields, and just change the image to email, and this is to password, this OpenAI. Now let's check this thing and run again. Run this thing and check this thing that it is working fine. So as we see that we are getting these three things by doing this 3 simple lines of code, and we can make also this thing a clickable. Just it right now it's not clickable, it's not changing its images, so we will do that thing also in this method only. We don't need to write any different code or other code to for that clickable thing. So for that we have to just create one if check over here. If so, for that, if user want to make anything clickable on text field, the right view or left view, we have to take one more parameter from the user, that is secure. You can choose is secure, is clickable, something according to your need. Right now we are going to create a secure thing, that a text field should be secure or not. So for that I'm using a is secure. So we are checking that if user provided a is secure thing, then only this if block will be executed. So in this we have to create one button. So let button is equals to UI button, and this should be like this one, and we have to pass the frames of image view in this button dot frame, something like this. Now we have to set the image for this button. We have to set the 2 different images for different states. For the normal state we have to set a different image, and for a selected state we have to set a different image. So button dot set image, this method, and in this we have to set a image literal, and this is the OpenAI, which is for dot normal state, and we have to again set one more image for uh, image literal, this one, and this is for selected state. Now we have to make this button as a selected. Button dot is selected is equals to true, something like this. So by doing this thing we have set this text field default a secure, because we have set it a selected state with this kind of a eye, closed eye kind of a thing. Now we have to add this button on the right view of the text field. So for that just simply write right view is equals to button. So whenever user provide is secure thing, like just like true or false, if user provide is secure true, then this will perform, else only this code will perform. But it always add a right view and image view, so we need to provide an else check over here, and whenever there is not secure thing, then it will add an image view, else it will add an button. So this is the basic thing which we have done. So now let's build this thing, and I guess we get 3 errors. Definitely we will get, because we need to pass a is secure parameter over here, but this is not true because we only want to add this is secure field in only single thing, and these 2 things are not required as is secure. So we can provide a default value to is secure, that is false, something like this. So now this is not a required parameter, it's a default parameter only, so we can provide is secure over here only, is secure, and that is true, something like this. Now let's check. Or yeah, we forgot to add the target for this button. So button dot add target, and in this cell action should be like hash selector, and this is for touch up inside this one, and in selector we have to give the name of the function on click I, something like this. Just copy this method and just create one method again with the Objective-C reference, same thing like this, and in this we have to toggle the button properties, that whenever if it's selected we have to make it unselected, and we have to change the is secure field of the text field. So for that we have to change the self dot is secure text entry is always the opposite of whatever the is secure text entry is secure text entry. And now we have to change the state of the button. So for that we have to make this action as a sender, and it is of UI button type, simply like this. And now sender dot is selected is always the opposite of sender dot is selected, something like this. So by doing this thing, I guess we will able to make that I think a clickable thing. So let's run and check that it is working fine or not. So all the three things are working fine, and this is already closed I. Now let's type something in this text field, and it is already secure. Now let's click on this I button, and as I click on this I button, this is become secure and the image get changed. So by doing this thing, we will able to create all the kind of functionalities, and we don't need to write that code again. So this is work completely fine. So there is only one thing left on this screen, and that is this already have a sign in thing. So let's create this thing. So for that we having a two approaches. First we can use attributed string, and that is a good approach. But if you are in hurry, you can create simply like I'm creating these things. So just take a simple UI view and drag and drop UI view over here. So first we need to make this UI view height and width something almost similar with the view which we are going to create. So for that, first take a label and drag and drop that label on this thing, and just change the text to already have an account, something like this. And just reduce the size according to, just increase the size, reduce the size according to your need, and change the color also like light gray. So this looking cool. And one more thing, we have to add one button, that is a sign in button, and we have to change the title to sign in, something like this, and change the color to dark gray, and title size should be like, I guess, 11 pixels, like 12 pixels is also good. So now I think this is looking cool. Just arrange according to your need, at what you want from this thing, like something like this. Now let's fix the width of this sign in button, and height also like this, and just give the constraints, or just like it's looking cool. So let's reduce the size of this label from view from here, and view from here also. Just arrange the things again like this. So, like this. So it's looking cool now. Now let's give the constraints to this view. The height and width should always remain same, and give the constraints from top, that is 10 pixels or maybe 7 pixels, 8 pixels, it's up to you. Center horizontal like this. And now we have to give the constraints to this view, and from left it should be 0, and from right it should be 2 pixels, from top 0, from bottom also 0, like this. And one constraint to this button also, that is from left it should be 0, like this. So and still the constraints are not satisfying definitely. So from top it's 0, like this. So we have done this thing, but this is not coming fine. So for that we have to reduce the height of this button, and that is 17 or maybe 16 or 15 should be fine. 15, yeah. So now they are coming close to each other almost, and we can also change these things according to our need, but this is a good approach to create this kind of a thing. and this will definitely work in all the screens also. So now let's check this thing that it is working fine in other screens also or not. So let's preview the storyboard, and this is our iPhone 8, and let's check this thing in other phones like iPhone X. So in iPhone X this is also again working fine. Or let's check in SE. So I guess in every phone this will be working fine. Yeah, definitely in this it's cutting because definitely there is a scroll view, it will automatically scroll this thing in the top, so you can check that thing in that way. So now our this screen get completed. Now let's run this thing and check on the device simulator. So this is completely working fine. Even you can increase the little bit size of this text, so this will look more fine. And now let's move on the login screen. Now let's take one more controller, and we can do two things, that we have to take a new controller, or we can even copy the controller also, because all the things are same. We just need to only copy the sign up controller, and there is some kind of a warning. So let's remove the warning, and the warning is like remove constraint. Okay, cool. Now let's copy this controller and paste over here, something like this. So there are two controllers in this on this screen, that is this one and this one. So now let's put this thing at the bottom, and let's remove the things which we don't want on the sign in screen. So just change the label, that is sign in, and we can check this thing over here. We have to just take the two text fields with email and password. So just change this thing to just remove this email thing only, or email stack, this thing, and just change the text field placeholder to email, or and the second thing is name or email. Okay, you can give any name or email kind of a thing, and this is password. And we have to reduce the height of this view to like 180 or 170, like this. Now we have to also remove that button, remove this sign up Facebook button, and we have to change the title for this sign up button, that is why it's not getting selected, the sign up button to sign in, like this. And one more thing, that we have to change this view or change this button to, now let's change the title of this sign in button. So just the title should be like, I guess, create now, this thing. And we have to increase the width of this view. So let's increase the width just like 215, 220 will be great, like this. And we also have to change the title for this thing also. So it's great now, don't have an account. Okay, let's change this thing to don't have an account, don't have an account, like this, with question mark. Okay, so now it's completely looking fine, but the things are really messed up. So we have to reduce the width of this create now button. So just reduce the width to like 70 pixels or 75 pixels. So it's still more, so little bit reduce more this thing, 72 will be great. Yeah, now let's reduce the width of this whole view, and width should be like 200. 200 is less, 210, and it's working fine. But still the space between these two things is more, so we can reduce this thing by just reducing the space of this. So you can also just hit and try these things, so that you can get a perfect height according to your need. I just need to manage all these things accordingly. Now it's looking cool, and everything is on the right places. Now let's give constraint to this view, and that is 20 pixels from the top, and all the other constraints are already given, so it's not taken a 20 pixels top from this sign in button. So let's give a 20 pixels from top to this sign in button. It's not taking. Okay, now vertical space, and just reduce this vertical space constraint to 20, or 10 is also fine, like this. So in just a simple line of codes, we have also created a sign in screen. So let's attach the sign in screen to this button. So just drag and drop and just click on this show. So let's check this thing that it is working fine in this case or not. And it's showing an error that the same storyboard name. Yeah, definitely there is a same storyboard name. We have to change the storyboard name. So we have to change the class also, that is login. So let's create one class over here in this controller folder, create one new file, and that is of UI view controller type, that is login view controller, and just click on next and create this file. Now assign this login file to that login controller, move to the storyboard, and just simply click on this and this login view controller, copy this thing and paste over here. Now let's move to the interface builder file. Now let's create the outlets for this text field. So txt email, like this, and txt password, like this, simply. And now we have to just give the images to right views of these fields also. So we only need to call that method which we have created previously, add right view, and we only need to pass the image, just like image literal, and this is a user image, and txt password dot add right view, and in this we have to pass the if we didn't pass the image also, then it will work, but we can pass the image. Okay, there is no problem. So just like an I, and we have to pass one more thing, that is secure thing, and that is true. So by doing these things, we are get that secure thing in this login screen also. So this is very simple process. We have just write a code and at the one place and reuse that code again and again, so it is working fine completely at sign in thing, like this. And now let's move to the sign in thing, and it's get crashed. Yes, definitely app get crashed because we are not removed the referencing outlets from that storyboard. That I guess we having a two outlets on this thing. Yes, definitely the text email which we have created on the sign up view controller, sign in view controller, and this is outlet for the sign up view controller. So just remove this thing, and I guess we get a same thing over here. So it's not there, it's working fine. Now let's run again and check that is now it's working fine or not. So I guess this is very simple screens. We don't need to think that much, but yeah, definitely whenever we are getting a very complex screen, then we have to think twice before creating. So now let's click on this sign up thing, and it's totally completely working fine. So it's secure, and we didn't write a single code for all these things, just a simple line. Yeah, definitely we write a single line of a code, but not that much code to creating these kind of a thing, even functionalities. Let's look controllers, they are very clean. So this is for today. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to get the notifications of all my other videos. So meet you in the next video. Till that, bye bye.